Combining 2827, which is Palatine Bridge, and 2826, which is Nelliston, into the one district of 2857. So, I did this, we don't have to do it tonight, but, the sooner we do ours and the villages do theirs, maybe by the first of the year, it'll be all set.
I say do it.
Comments,
Yeah.
questions?
Do it tonight.
Let's get it done tonight.
So Linda, does that mean that you, although there's 3 different numbers, you've been doing all the work and storing all the certificates to this point? So basically, nothing's changing except there's only one district number.
One number instead
And
of
you'll
three.
be keeping the same consecutive numbers of the certificates.
Right,
that
right
we see.
now I have to keep numbers for the town, I have to keep numbers for the village, and I have to keep numbers for the other village. So, like I'm on number 31 for the village of Palatine Bridge. Nelliston, I think I'm on 1, and town of Palatine, I'm on 2. I have to look them up all the time, whereas
I got you.
now, it's just numerical, it would be one right after the other. That's the only difference.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I make a motion, we place resolution 45 of 2019 to consolidate villages and town registrar.
I'll
Do we have a
second.
second?
I'll second.
Okay, Betty seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, and the only other thing I have is we do have to, we don't have to, but the next meeting for November will be the Halloween, not Halloween, Thanksgiving Eve. Will be Thanksgiving Eve, and also, like I mentioned, we need to have the public hearing before the 15th, and the budget has to be voted on by the 20th. So keep that in mind for next month. That's all I got.
What's the board's pleasure with regard to meeting in November?
The day before Thanksgiving's way for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanksgiving
if
is
we
late.
have it a week earlier, that'll take care of the
Yeah.
budget
So we
deal.
moved it to,
Well, we have to have a hearing by Tuesday, by, what day is the 15th?
15th is on a Friday.
Okay, so we have to have our hearing by then, and then 5 days later, before the 20th, we have to vote for it. So that would put us,
it's the Wednesday before the 15th, the Wednesday that week,
Wednesday before the 15th.
the Wednesday that week.
That would be the 13th.
That would be
Yeah.
the 13th.
I mean, you could, if you wanted to go that early, you could have the public hearing and vote on the budget all at the same time and do the monthly meeting.
That's what
So
I
you
was
could
thinking.
do it all at once.
I would try to do it on the 13th.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan to me.
that would move the comprehensive plan, where's Mark?
Oh, yeah, whoa, yeah.
Oh yeah, that meeting's the
That's the
13th at 7.
13th, the meeting is for the comprehensive plan, right, Mark?
Yes, correct.
Comprehensive plan is the 13th.
We
What
have
time is
noticed.
that meeting?
7 o'clock.
7. We've tried this before. Yeah, we can't have our meeting before that, it'll run into them.
They move their meeting up before ours.
Huh? Theirs has
No,
already
that-
been
That's
advertised.
right, and you guys have a,
Theirs has already been advertised. I got it in the paper. And not unless we wanna do it on a,
Tuesday.
we could do it on a Tuesday. We could do it on a Tuesday, as long as it's not the second Tuesday of the month. We could do it on a
Well,
Tuesday.
that's what the
It
12th
is.
would, that's what the 12th would be.
That's
It's
what
the
it
second
is.
Tuesday of the month.
Well,
Second Tuesday of the month is the 12th?
Yep.
the other alternative is to have the public hearing on the 13th. That shouldn't take
That
that
wouldn't
long.
take as long.
Yeah, and then have a meeting later in the month anyway,
On the
which
20th.
is more desirable to my way of
Well, the
thinking.
20th, the budget has to be passed
Yeah,
anyways, right?
right.
So why can't we have our meeting on the 20th? Do the public hearing on the
13th.
13th and the meeting on the 20th.
Public hearing on the 13th at 6:30?
It has to be if they got
Have to
meeting
be,
at 7.
because they're at 7.
Well, I'm just thinking
Well,
half
we
an hour
could-
should be plenty of time for a public hearing.
Yes, I would think so.
And then our regular meeting at 6:30 on the 20th.
Right.
Okay, I gotta advertise for these, so.
Is that it for you
That's it.
tonight?
That's it.
Wow.
Other than the fact that I figured it out, it is my router, that's why I don't have any internet. So I gotta go buy a router tomorrow. 'Cause Kelly has no internet in her office and it comes out of my house.
Well, it's a good thing, that's one of those columns I circled to take that money out of there. Okay, all right.
Is it our router or the router from,
No, not from,
Frontier.
it's ours.
okay.
It's ours. Because I have one line coming in, I have a router, because I had 2 computers, and Kelly's went off of mine too, so I needed 3 computers to come off of one line. So that's why I had a router.
You might wanna check with Hiram or with Brian, about the routers. Whether to put 2 back in or 1. And split the phone line rather than split the computer line. It might make a difference, the way those machines operate. Just give Hiram a call tonight yet.
I called,
what
I
to
called
tell
Lorraine and left a message, and
All right.
I haven't heard back from her.
Okay. I just like to
So
check
I-
in with them. They come up with stuff that,
Well, that's why I thought maybe Hiram could come up and take a look at it, but I figured it out, it was the router. I thought maybe it was just the internet, but it's not.
if that's it, we'd like to entertain a motion to accept the town clerk's report.
So moved. I'll second it.
Sean's second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, planning board. We have a report.
Planning Board, Paul Goff. October 2nd, 2019, we had our meeting. The Planning Board recommends to the board for a fee of $50 for the special use permit, and also the cost to the town of Palatine for any consultation fees. November 6th, we have our next Planning Board at 7 p.m. We have 3 public hearings starting at 7:10. We have 2 subdivisions for Leonard Logan, and we have 1 special use permit for Abundance Acres Farms, chicken processing facility, Mr. Novak and Ms. McKenzie. And Mark has some information for you also.
Right, the continuation of the planning board is really to talk about the comprehensive plan, steering committee's activities and what happens next. You should all have in your package something called Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee Goals and Objectives. That's a draft. The steering committee has no authority to approve it or do anything with it. This board is what will be approving it or whatever. So, first of all, a little background. The board appointed a steering committee just over a year ago to come up with a revision to the comprehensive plan. The current comprehensive plan is out of date, which doesn't mean to say it's not still completely valid. It's just old enough that it should have been revised a couple of times by now. Steering committee had a SWOT, went through a SWOT exercise in a public meeting to have people identify what we've got going for us and against us. We sent out a survey to all the voters in the town and put one online as well to find out what was important to people. And from the results of those, we have come up with this first draft of appropriate goals and objectives we think going forward. We also are not ignoring the old plan, and you'll see if you look that actually they're very, very similar to the goals and objectives from the previous plan. And we would like to take this opportunity to go back to the public and to this board and get some feedback, because if people want the new plan to be different in any way from the old plan, you need to say that. And so does the public. So we've set up a public hearing to review this at the next meeting. Meetings, by the way, are the second Wednesday at 7 p.m. It's an informal group, so if you are interested in longer term planning for the town of Palatine, please be there. And actually, I think having the budget hearing just before that might actually get a few more people there, so thanks for that. If you have specific questions about it or are interested in what's new and what's the same and what's different, I'd be happy to answer them. But otherwise, we do need some mechanism for the board to provide input into the process and say, yes, we like this, no, we don't like this, before you get the final version plopped on your desk and get asked to approve it. So I don't know if you want.
Could that involve presenting a rough draft to the board and then?
Well, that is exactly what we've just done. This
Okay.
is the rough draft of
Okay.
the.
I'll take it
okay.
home and read it.
So the shape of the document's going to be pretty much the same as the current one. There'll be a review of the conditions, the current conditions in the town. There'll be a summary of what the survey told us. There'll be this section, which is actually the meat of the document, which is the goals and objectives, and then another level of sort of recommended tasks underneath those objectives. And then there'll be a sort of recommendation for any land use changes. So this, what you have in front of you is just 2 pages, but it's actually the heart of the document. Everything else will be around that. So if you, like I say, if you want me to read them out or talk to them, I will.
I don't think so. Can I put that on the next agenda for the next meeting? Take this home and look at it and go through it, and we'll discuss it at the next meeting.
So in preparation for the public hearing, I have a task to get this information to the press. So Brianna, Josh, if he gives me his email address, and to the county, so that if they're interested, they can come. That's the end of my report.
Any more questions?
Mark, I know that you and the rest of the Comprehensive Planning Committee have spent almost 2 years and done a lot of work with Amanda when she was here, done the SWOT analysis. I really appreciate all the hours that this team has put together. I think we have some members here. We have Neil and we have Mayor Post and a number of you who have all put a lot of time into this, and I want to thank you because this is no one ever sees the effort that goes into this. They'll look at the comprehensive plan and they'll say, oh, isn't that great? But I want to thank you guys. So, great job.
I'm also on the committee.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I missed you there.
Okay, we had a letter of resignation on the BAR, Board of Assessment Review from Brian Chrisman. Does somebody want to make a motion on the letter that we received from Alan Brust?
He is here tonight.
He is here.
He is here to meet with the
Okay.
board, like they asked.
Okay, yeah, they asked. Could you just come up and introduce yourself, I guess?
Hi, I'm Alan Brust. I lived in town center for about 20 years. I just retired from TV and I got some expertise in doing analysis and stuff like that for statistics, and I think they could be of benefit to the board.
We appreciate you volunteering.
We appreciate you coming out. We like to put a face with the name, so we appreciate you coming out and sticking your neck out. It's not always easy to deal with stuff in a small town, so.
Are you a Cal State graduate?
Yeah,
Which one?
Dominguez Hills,
Sonoma.
Carson.
Yeah, I went there when I got out of the Army, I went there for about a year, but I graduated from Sonoma State in Northern
Okay.
California. Just noticed that.
Yep.
You get to sing the fight song there? What do you think?
No.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to put Alan on the board.
I'll second that.
Okay, Betty and Chris again, you made the motion?
Yeah.
Betty made the motion.
Chris,
Chris
you
seconded.
Chris wanted to second it, so, okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Wonderful.
He just has to be sworn in, right?
Yeah, yes, that will come to office.
Okay, Board of Ethics.
Nothing new to report this month.
Okay. I had one other item.
Did you do the planning board report?
Yeah, the minutes were in there, yeah, but Paul did the verbal report.
Did we accept the planning board and the comprehensive
The
plan?
planning board,
We didn't vote on
We
it.
didn't.
we didn't vote on it?
Vote on it, no.
Okay, make a motion to accept the planning board's report under the minutes.
Can I amend that to just add the comprehensive plan steering committee to minutes?
Okay.
Since they were
just-
both presented.
Just a minute.
That's okay.
Mrs. Dunn?
Well, I think we need a vote on the fee, the special use permit fee, or that wasn't the name of it. What was it that you announced for
Special
special
use.
use?
Special use permit
Special
fee for
use permit.
$50
Yeah, the application fee, thank you.
and to pay for the extra,
Consultation fees.
what fees?
The
Whatever
cons-
consultant fees are needed.
Consulting fees
That's what I meant to say.
for outside vendors.
I think that's the holdup on some applications.
Yes.
We need one of you to move to
Okay.
Except that.
establish that fee or accept their recommendation to set the fee.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion
Well-
to accept the planning board's recommendation for the $50 special use permit?
Yes, I will.
Permit.
And to pay the outside firms um,
So,
for the work
Is that-
required?
Is that gonna be two or one? Two or one motion?
hang on, that's what I was just gonna say, because we have a motion, we currently have a motion on the table right now to accept the minutes first. So,
Okay, let's
let's
do the
accept that one,
minutes.
and then I'll make this motion for the.
Okay,
Okay?
Do we
to
have,
accept the planning board minutes?
and comprehensive plan, minute, and comprehensive plans, or just the planning board?
Just the planning
Just
board.
Just the planning board?
Let's go one step at a time.
Okay, planning board.
Nice and simple. Okay, do we have a motion to accept the planning board's report?
I'll make a motion, we accept the report.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we got that
I
done.
understand.
Okay,
Okay.
the $50, now you wanna handle these separate too, the $50 special use permit?
Well, it's,
No.
we should accept, we need to make a, I'll make a motion that we accept the planning board's recommendation on a special use permit for solar, it's for strictly for solar applications, and consulting fees for, we need a little specific, consulting fees for work engineering?
Yeah, well, yes. So it's $50 fixed fee for special use permit applications,
Application.
plus the cost of any consultants that the planning board requires to review the application.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a big one, but it's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we got, Chris made the motion to accept the planning board's recommendation of $50 for special use permit for solar applications, plus the cost of any consulting fees for outside vendors.
That the planning board requires to review the application.
Cost of any
Outside consulting fee, yes, it is.
consulting fees for outside, from out, yeah, all right, I
Could
know what I
we make
got.
it and just say consulting fees the planning board deems necessary? Is that?
Cost
this-
of any fees for
Sure.
consulting.
Any consultant
Firms not related to the applicant, and connected
I
with.
think we take that for granted.
Yeah, but, well, it's important that the applicant doesn't hire or use their favorite firm.
For sure.
We should have some kind of wording for
Planning board, to accept the planning board recommendation of $50 for special use permits for solar applications, plus the cost of any fees for outside consultants not connected to applicants.
Okay.
that. I think, is that,
Yeah, that works fine.
you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's a tough one, but we got it, okay, we got it.
Second?
I think I got it.
Do we have
Who
a second?
seconded it?
Awful easy to second that one, Clark. Not easy.
You made the motion?
I made the
I'll
motion.
second it.
Okay, Sean second.
All right,
Any further discussion on that? No further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay,
That's fine.
now, back to the DAR.
Well, we got that. We already,
Are we
had a
all set?
motion and voted on that. The
We're all
Board
set.
of Ethics had nothing to report, so then we're right,
You had something to add.
then
No.
you had something to add.
I had one little thing here. I sent a letter on Town of Palatine stationery without consulting with the board, October 19th, 2019. I wanted to be sure you were aware of it, and perhaps if anybody has anything to say, now's a good time to say it. The Town of Palatine and Hamlet of Stone Arabia, recognizing and appreciating the efforts of Willis Barshide in promoting, protecting, and preserving all things of historical significance in the Mohawk Valley, and whereas the Stone Arabia Preservation Society has proclaimed the parsonage to be named the Willis Skip Barshide Center. Therefore, I, William McLaughlin, Supervisor of the Town of Palatine, do hereby proclaim October 19th, 2019 as Willis Skip Barshide Day.
I thank everybody. I did that day and I didn't expect that. And
It was really a
I
nice
really-
ceremony.
I
We
really
had,
appreciated it.
they had wreath laying in front of Colonel Brown's grave site. They shot off an original cannon. The militia was there. They shot the guns. Then we had a ceremony for Willis. They had a nice poem. We had the proclamation, and they gave him a plaque, which is going to be on the building, which they named in honor of Skip. And he had a lot of his things on display, which was really awesome. And there was a couple people there that took lots of pictures and video recorded it because there wasn't anybody.
I told you a
present
long
that I
time
know of.
ago, this town has something that is rather unique. We have a major battlefield. And there's a lot of other places that have got a battlefield that have blown their own horn to the point that there's a lot of people come in. Now, the Preservation Society is trying to do that. They need the help of the board and everybody else.
Very nice.
Appreciate what you do. Very much. Okay, any old business to come before the board? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to pay the abstracts.
So moved.
Okay, thanks. Motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Betty, second. All those in favor? say
Hang on, I
aye.
have some discussion.
Okay.
Okay, it seems that we're over budget on a number of line items and we haven't done the appropriate counterbalancing to fix that.
Yes, we are well aware of it. And,
Well, we shouldn't be passing any abstracts for line items that are over budget without appropriating the funds from somewhere. We made a mistake 2 months ago when this board voted 4 votes to 1 to move money over into the attorney's fees. And then that was just negated by you, Mr. Supervisor, and then you made a second motion to change the amount that the board approximated, so we never removed the first motion, which means that we now have allocated, according to the board, 13,000, not 8. And here we are, we have several items, we're $12,000 over. You know, and you suggested just moving money out of one account to the other, which is what you said a few months ago was how you couldn't get a finite budget because we just moved line items from one to the other. So I can't in good conscience vote for that until we move the monies.
Okay. In explanation to what is going on, Kelly has been spending some time in the hospital, and we didn't do our meeting to move money out of items in the budget where we have excesses to items in the budget where we have deficiencies. We are not going over budget, and I do not want to add from surplus to the current budget. It is not necessary. So we are going to do an item by item move of the money, and you will see that at the next meeting.
But we are going over budget.
No, we're not.
Sure we are. We're going
We're
over
going
budget
over
for that line item.
We're going
Which
over-
means that we did not appropriate enough money initially to pay for those line items. So we are going over budget. We're not going over the totality of the budget if we have savings in other places. But again, let's be realistic about the budget in that we have several accounts that we are over budget, and we didn't have a discussion of why we're going over budget in those line items.
We are nowhere near going over budget. We have gone over budget in some small line items. I gave you all the analysis as of the last of last month. And as you can see by that, there is lots of money there. When the work gets done, it will become rather obvious. We are not going to do like we did last year in moving about 300,000 out of surplus to load the budget so it could pay its bills. Our budget is adequate. So you have one voucher that you want to hold out? Is that what?
No, not me.
You're all set?
I'm all set.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Did we have a motion to?
Yeah, Hank made a
Hank
motion.
and I second.
No, Hank and Betty.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
Opposed?
Okay. All right, public comment. Yes, sir.
I was here one night when I believe a member of the planning board resigned. And he made a statement at the time that he did that kind of struck me. I think the statement was that nobody really knows exactly how the people feel of this town about more large solar projects. Now, maybe some of the public hearings will do that. I'm not going to say who, but one friend of mine said, look, if I get surrounded by those things, I'm not going to be here anymore. And we got into the same thing with the wind generators. As long as they're controlled fairly well and they don't go totally wild, it doesn't affect the aesthetics of your town. But if you go too far with it, it does. I don't know how you find out how the people feel about